Conservative Rabbi Sharon Bruce, conservative in the sense that she belongs to the conservative denomination of Judaism, not conservative in the sense of politics, she's left-wing. Anyway, she writes in the Jewish Journal, "Certain that I'm not the only person who left Sunday's solidarity rally for Israel with a profound sense of unease. While I was not greeted with boos and jeers like Peace Now's David pined, my speech elicited more confusion. Wait, she's a rabbi, isn't she on our side? What does she mean we can do better?" I was devastated by what I can only understand to be a tragic narrowing of the American Jewish heart and mind. Wouldn't it have been heartening if the Jewish community's message to the world after the flotilla had been, "What a painful and tragic event. We know that we will never have peace until we can mourn one another's losses. We affirm Israel's right to defend itself, but we also realize that the status quo is untenable. Pray that the world, rather than delegitimize us, will join hands with us and work to achieve a lasting peace. Instead, we only proved that we could match their heartlessness and their narrow-mindedness with our own." Now, I usually comment nothing of my own thoughts on politics and on Israel. I leave that to people who know better. But this essay by Rabbi Sharon Brous just arouses me to write. Here's the analogy that comes to mind. Let's say a group of terrorists say, "You Jews have no right to live in this neighborhood. To prove it, we're going to walk all over your property next Tuesday night. You have good reason to believe that we will bring weapons, as our peers have tried to kill you before. When these terrorists arrive on Tuesday night, you're armed. You warn them that you'll stop them by any means necessary from trespassing on your property. They trespass on your property. They begin to lynch your family. In response, you kill 9 of them." Rabbi Brous writes about a tragic narrowing of the American Jewish heart and mind. I can't think of any Jewish leader who's taken pride in the killings. As Shmuel Rosner wrote on Slate.com, the killings were the only possible response to the lynching of Israeli soldiers. They're nothing to be ashamed of, and they're nothing to be proud of. What Jews and Christians who care about Israel have united on after this flotilla disaster is against the worldwide condemnation of Israel's right to exist and its right to defend itself. Didn't hear anyone at the Israel parade on Sunday say they thought the killings of the 9 Muslim activists were great. What I picked up from the crowd and from the speakers was that Israel has a right to defend itself, even though it sometimes acts in a clumsy way. Rabbi Bruce can name no examples of placards or speakers on Sunday that glorified in the killing of the 9 Muslims. Now, I don't know why anyone should mourn the deaths of 9 supporters of terrorism who were lynching Israeli soldiers. I don't see their deaths as tragic. They were lynching. The only way to stop people who lynch is by killing them, much of the time. Now, this prayer that the world will join hands with Jews to create peace is naive and silly. Sometimes pray that hot young Czechs will join hands with me to help me achieve lasting peace, but that ain't going to happen either. Rabbi Sharon Brous' showy compassion, this, "Oh, look at how exquisite my feelings are compared to my fellow rabbis. I feel so bad about the deaths of 9 terrorists. I'm going to bewail that other Jews aren't as delicate in their sensibilities as I am about this. Look at how brave I'm being, criticizing my own and empathizing with the mothers of the dead terrorists." All this showy compassion, this conspicuous compassion, reminds me of the director of the movie Waltz with Bashir, Ari Folman. Now, I liked the movie Waltz with Bashir as a movie, but it was morally obtuse. It gave no context for Israel's 1982 invasion of Lebanon. It only focused on Israelis not doing enough to stop the Goyim killing Goyim. Mostly wanted to show off the sensibilities of the leftists producing the movie. Just imagine that if Sharon Brous and Ari Folman had been alive 2,000 years ago, probably would have decried a lack of Jewish sensitivity to the crucifixion of Jesus. Probably would have said something like this: "Wouldn't it have been heartening if the Jewish community's message to the world after the crucifixion had been, 'What a painful and tragic event. We know that we will never have peace until we can mourn one another's losses.' Yada, yada, yada." Now, in the wake of last week's flotilla mess, numerous non-Orthodox rabbis went to the media to critique Israel's response. Among them was this conservative Rabbi Sharon Brous. And her complete lack of expertise in matters of security does not stop her from approvingly quoting a friend. Why couldn't Mossad sneak one agent on that board of that boat to get an accurate read on the resistance commandos could expect to encounter? Why are all these non-Orthodox clergy who have no expertise in matters military rushing into print with their critiques of Israel's security methods, while the Orthodox rabbinate stays silent? Even the most left-wing Orthodox rabbis are not going to the media, criticizing Israel over this and making sweeping declarations in matters in which they know nothing. This stupidity is purely the province of the non-Orthodox. I wonder why. In this whole mess, I have renewed respect for the stance of Jewish commentator Dennis Prager, who says, "I've never commented on Israel's foreign policy. I believe that Jews living 10,000 miles away from the Middle East, whose sons would not directly feel the consequences of Israel's policies, should not tell Israel what to do." Why do LA's silliest rabbis, such as Bradley Shavat-Atzen at American Jewish University and Sharon Brous, why do they have these extensive and glowing online profiles, while LA's greatest Torah scholars, such as David Rue and Yehuda Buckspan, virtually no internet presence? Can you imagine a real Torah scholar offering a high-resolution download of his picture? It's what Rabbi Atzen offers. Download is massive, it's 5 megs. By contrast, none of LA's top Torah scholars offer any online photos of themselves for download. It seems that the bigger the picture you post of yourself, the less wisdom you have to give. Why do our best Jewish brains lack all media notice, while our worst are full of passionate intensity? Surely some revelation is at hand.